So, if you were following along with me on Facebook, you saw that I added a new curriculum for the rest of our school year. And that curriculum is Gather Round Homeschool. This is the first unit we're going to do, North American Birds. This is my teacher's guide. And we are going to be learning all of our subjects except math through this particular program. We're giving it a try. I want to see how we like it. I'm hoping that we really like it so that in the fall we can implement it completely. I chose to do North American Birds. Everybody keeps laughing at me because they think I just wanted to do it, and I do. I'm excited to do it. I think the next study we'll do is space because that's something that's interesting to them. But I chose North American Birds because it is number one, the first unit study that she had created, and number two, that we're getting ready to go into spring. So we're going to be seeing all kinds of birds, and all the birds are going to be coming back around, and I think it'll be really exciting to be able to identify the birds that we see. So, what does this look like? Well, let's open up and I'll give you a quick view inside. So, her curriculum, it teaches all levels. You teach all levels at one time. And then they have an independent workbook that they will work through. And she has each workbook separated out into either pre-reader, early reader, early elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. And so you can choose between one of those four books for your student to work out of. At the beginning of the guide, she gives you some options for some picture books and novels that might go with what you're going to be learning about through the whole unit. The units last 20 lessons, so that's about 20 days of lessons. So for us, that'll last us anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. I plan to make one unit last no longer than 6 weeks because we do 6 weeks on, 1 week off. So I'm hoping on that off week I can kind of regroup and get back, get our next unit unit study ready and move on to the next session. The next set of pages she has in here is just a little planner to plan out what maybe you're doing. And then you get into the meat of the program. So I'll just go through one day so you can see how it looks. And I'll show you the kids' guides too. So this is what I will read from. Now, up at the top, I don't think it's backwards, but I can't really tell. So up at the top, you'll see the subjects that you're going to cover on day one. We're going to cover science, social studies, geography, language arts, and art. So those are all the products or all the subjects that we are going to cover just on day one. And then down here, she goes through and explains how we're going to cover it. So in science, we're going to do a note picking page. We're going to talk about social studies. We're going to do a national symbol page. Geography, we're going to do a mapping exercise. Language arts, we have copywork and spelling. And then art, we're sketching an eagle. So, and you'll see all of these pages inside of the student books that I'll show you soon. So then we're going to go, and I'm going to basically read this as a read aloud. Down here, it gives you a little activity idea. She says, look up some pictures of the bald eagle. If you can, a video or a sound clip of what it sounds like. Spend some time investigating the bald eagle together. Have you seen one in your region? So that'll be a good time for us to take a small break. I have created a playlist that goes with this particular unit of 56 videos. I went through today and found them. 56 videos that correlate with each bird that we are going to learn about. And then we can go, after we're done reading through this script, I can go on and I can show them the videos. And so I think I have anywhere from 2 to 4 videos per bird. And they actually were very interesting, or some were funny, and others were just some really good, interesting facts. Some of them we had, like the eagle one, I know specifically we have a live video that we'll be able to watch of that's going on right now somewhere. I can't remember. I think it was in Florida. Where they have eaglets that were just born, and so we're able to see them in their nest, and that's really cool. So the next page, you can see this is still part of my script for the day. We go through and talk about the appearance and the diet. She talks about what the scientific name is, And so also you can see that there's a diagram of the eagle, and you can talk about labeling the parts of the eagle, which are really cool. And then the last page of day 1, I also included some sticky notes here to remind me of what videos I might want to pull out during that time. I don't know if I'll do that on everyone. This was when I first started putting it together. But anyway, so you go through your habitat and the life cycle of the bald eagle. Then at the bottom it says, assignment, students, it's time to do your work in your notebooks. Open up your notebook in today's lesson and complete the assignments. Don't forget to look at your supplies list. So on the first page, you'll see the supplies. You need a research tool like an encyclopedia or the internet. And you need art supplies for drawing or sketching, a Bible, an atlas, map, or a globe. That's what they'll need to complete their lessons. So once I'm finished reading through all the script, we will then kind of break off into our independent work time. And so I have a book for each of my kids. Now I have it, I guess you could call it, it's not spiral bound, but it's disc bound, I guess is what it's called. So this is Aubrey's. She's an early reader. So this is her notebook, and all of her stuff in here will correlate to her level, so that when she's doing the work, it's the same stuff as the other kids, which I'll show you, but it's at her level, which I love. They're all working on the same thing, but I'm not having to come up with how do I bring it down? How do I bring it up? How do I find the middle ground for this child? It's already done for me. So all the guesswork is already there. It's also very Charlotte Mason inspired, which is kind of how we go in our homeschool. So it just makes sense. It works. So for their books, I disc bound it from the top. And because I think it makes it easier for them when they're writing, they don't hit the side. So we'll see how we end up liking it. My son was not happy. He did not want it up across the top, but I told him we're trying it for this lesson, and then we'll see what we think next time. So on hers, she has a scope and sequence for her book. Actually, they each do. So you can see on this page, this is all of the areas and subjects that she will cover through these 20 lessons. I'm sorry if it's dark. I'm in my bedroom because everyone is busy upstairs and downstairs on TV, so it's loud. So they're going to cover, this is all language arts. This is all geography that we're covering. This is all the history that we're recovering, we are covering. This is all the science things we're covering, and this is social studies, Bible, and art. So you can see just for this early reader age, we are covering so much in such a short amount of time. Like it's really nice to be able to kind of check off those boxes if you're a box checker. So moving on, there's a table of contents. Tells you what birds, what lessons. And then we get into the content for her level. So her first page, and you'll actually notice the other kids have a very similar page. So for her first page, she has to draw or dictate to me or whoever's going to be working with her. So if my husband decides to work with her, she can dictate to him what she wants to put down for diet, habitat, and an interesting fact about the bald eagle that she learned. So that's part of her science. It actually says at the top what subject you're focusing in on each sheet. So the next page for that day, this is not turning very easily because of how I'm holding it. So the next page, we're going into a social studies activity. And this is talking about the national symbol of the U.S. and what it looks like. And what the symbol means, and we're going to talk about that. And then she, because of her age, she gets to have a chance to color in what it looks like, and there's an example here to follow. Then we're going to language arts, and she has copy work. Now I could she usually writes things on her own. I think she might enjoy the tracing for this one. But at this level, they still have them tracing to help take the pressure off. And it says up here, because it's language arts, we talk about the what does ing say and what does the ou say, so we can focus on those words like mount and wings. so that she catches those as she's writing them. Then we turn the paper over and we go into our geography, and someone, probably myself, we will find, we'll follow the directions. It says find Alaska on the map because that's where the majority of them are found, and you're going to color it blue. And now you're also going to color your home state or province because this is also made for Canadians. So she's going to find Ohio and she will go ahead and color that in. And we'll talk about that. And I might even have her write the words on there too, just to kind of reiterate. And then for art for this particular one, she's going to learn how to draw an eagle. And this one is, just because of, again, her age, they're going to have her just trace it and color it. And she'll feel like she actually drew it because she was able to trace it. So that is day 1 for the pre-reader. Now I'm going to skim through the other ones because there's no sense in me going through every part of it when you just saw that one. So the next one up, I have my son. He is considered early elementary. So he will do his lesson. It's very similar to hers, except he has a much bigger scope and sequence. You can see we're covering a lot more. His I didn't cut right when I bound it, so his pages are falling out because of that, of course. So this one is language arts. We have geography and history, and then a second page, science, social studies, Bible, and art. So you can see we are covering a ton of stuff all inside of one single 20 lesson unit. Oh my goodness, these papers are going to drive us crazy. I'm just going to take those off. Okay, so then after that, okay. So we get to this same sheet. His is laid out very similar to my youngest. He is to write the diet, the habitat, and the interesting fact. But on his, he is to write it. It's not dictated. But obviously, you can determine if that's a need for your child or not. On the next page, same thing. It's going to talk about the seal of the U.S. so they can color it in. And now oh my gosh, this is going to drive us crazy, and I am sure he is going to say he hates it bound at the top because of this very reason. And what happened was I cut the first set of sheets wrong, so it's falling out. So you can see on his, he has to actually write his copy work for the week. And I may not do the copy work always from here because we're still going to be using some of Brave Writer's stuff, the arrow guides and things. So I may not use this all the time, but I do like the option. On his page, he also has the map, but on his, I guess he has to do the same thing. He has to find Alaska and he has to find his home state. So his is very similar to the early, oh my goodness, I can't remember what it's called. Not pre-reader, whatever she is, the younger one. Oh my goodness, this page. I am sorry, guys. This is doing this. It's popping out so bad. Okay, and I'm putting it on backwards, so I'm just going to show you the back. So this is the last page. Now, Aubrey's, my youngest, she was able to trace. He is going to actually draw his eagle. So that is the end of his book. And lastly, you'll have to bear with me because her book, this is the first time I used the disc binder, so it's all messed up. Hang on one second. My husband's making an announcement through the house. So her cover got screwed up. This was the first time I used the binding, so it was all very new. So that's why I'm having so many issues with the papers, but we will figure it out for next time. So this is the upper elementary core. You will see here, here's her scope and sequence. It's a little bit bigger. And then we get into her stuff. And hers is bound on the side because I thought about doing the top after I did her book. So hers, it is saying, write about the most interesting thing you learned today and write and or draw in the boxes below what you learned. So hers is very similar to theirs for this day. But on the next page, it's different. Hers goes a little bit more in depth. And actually so the levels above this go even more further. But I don't have those printed. So you can see she also learned about the seal, and we can talk about that. But when she gets to her part, she has these 2 extra boxes. She actually has to go online and research and find out what the red and the white stripes mean, and she is to write about them. So not only does she learn about the seal, and up here it talks about the olive branches and the arrows and what they mean, but now she has to figure out what the red and white stripes symbolize, which I think was really nice to be able to add for her age. For her page, going into language arts, she has to do copy work, and then at the bottom she asked them to write the words that were tricky for her to remember how to spell and write them a couple of times, just so that she can, kind of like spelling words, get them into her brain a little bit better. And then on her map, she still has to find Alaska and color it, but she also has to find the Gulf of Alaska, Beaufort Sea, I'm going to botch that word, Chukotky Sea, and the Bering Sea, and which body of water is the Gulf of Alaska. So she has to find a little bit more than just what they did. So she's going to have to definitely be using a map to do that one. So, and then lastly, they are going to do the bald eagle, and she will draw her eagle very similar to the other ones. So throughout the study, though, they will also cover lots of historical people. I noticed some of the names that were in there. Like I said at the beginning, we'll cover 20 different birds. I think it'll be really great going into the spring season where we're doing our nature studies and they're out and about, and they're going to be able to actually know what these birds are. I think that is really cool, and I'm actually excited myself to do this because of that. So I am really excited to try it out. I'm hoping it works. We will also still be doing our No Sweat Nature study with our Journey Westward because that has been fantastic. It's a live class that they do every couple of weeks. And we will still be doing our regular math. We use Matthew C. And, what else are we doing? Let me look at my planner here. We'll still be doing our morning time read aloud kind of stuff. But this basically will cover everything else. I won't be adding anything else. And the nature study class is only twice a month. So that's just kind of when we have time. So I'm still planning it all out in my notebook here. Just the basics, and I go through and check off what we actually did. And sometimes I rewrite things just according to what we actually did compared to what I wanted to do. And I think that's it. So anyways, let me know what you think. I'm excited to try this out. I hope that it kind of solves some of my needs for less time with me so much, even though I'm still going to be there a lot. I think it's going to bring our school days a little bit shorter than what we were doing. And I am very ready to get started with this. So anyways, thanks for watching.